Hello, here's a lovely dish now. Just simple eggs. I'm using nice organic eggs here. Small little bit of smoked salmon, about 70 grams of it thereabouts. And just a potato. Now I'm going to make with the eggs a kind of a simple olive oil type of scrambled egg. So I'm not going to use dairy in this time, although nothing wrong with a bit of butter and scrambled eggs. It's quite lovely. So I'm just going to get my 2 eggs and just pop them in there. Now with scrambled eggs, there's 100 ways. People have all these different ways of cooking them all the time. I like to cook it nice and slowly, nice and gently, and just let the scramble just kind of develop itself, just kind of almost set like a custard, and just keep very, very slow, gentle methods, and it'll get there. Other people like to do it fast. They like to add milk, they like to add butter, all sorts of things. But I just think a little dribble of olive oil, about a tablespoon. I'm not going to use salt in this because I'm using smoked salmon. Smoked salmon is salty anyhow, it's part of the curing process, so I don't think it's necessary. And just mix them. Just not a big stir, just kind of roughly bring your egg whites and your egg yolk together. A little bit of olive oil, and that's all that's to it. With the potatoes, I've just very, very simply grated my potato. And instead of using a dairy or a bread with this, I'm just going to make a simple kind of hash brown or a Rosti. You know, there's lots of different names for a very similar potato dish. Just going to fry that just very lightly. Just get a nice little golden color, so it's just going to be something to lay on top. And just to bring a little bit of green and a bit of freshness to the dish, I'm going to use both spring onions and spinach. And with this dish, I'm going to get a nice boost from, I'm going to get good quality omega-3s from a good quality salmon. I'm using a nice organic salmon here. I'd recommend that you do use an organic good quality salmon, smoked salmon, because some of it is quite mass produced and I'm not crazy about those ones. Or better still, if you could get wild. This is a great way of extending a very expensive ingredient because it goes a long way with very, very little. And then the eggs are going to give me a very good protein hit, but also eggs are a whole food. They contain virtually every nutrient we need. All of the essential amino acids, the proteins, vitamins, minerals, they've got everything, and they're a great part of a diet, especially if you're not feeling so well and you just want something, just something simple, and this kind of a dish fits into that category. It's also a lovely kind of luxury kind of a dish as well. Smoked salmons, eggs, potatoes, it's got it all. It'll do for lunch, brunch, or just an evening snack. So I'm going to get on and I'm going to cook this, and I'm not going to keep talking about it. And I hope you enjoy it. First, to cook this dish, I'm going to add a little drop of oil into a pan. And then just my grated potatoes. Pop them into the pan. And kind of flatten them down. The natural starches in the potatoes will kind of hold them together, if you like. A potato such as a Morris Piper is a good choice, or Rooster, but again, any kind of potato will really do. Don't get too caught up in it either. So at a nice low heat, bring your heat right down. And just keeping an eye on that as it cooks, and flatten it out like a kind of a pancake, for want of a better description. Compress it there together. And just allow that to cook away itself. And as your potatoes, as they start to cook, just a nice low heat, as I mentioned, you'll start seeing them kind of sticking together, and the starches in the potatoes kind of holding together like a kind of a pancake, for want of a better description. When you get like that, just going to flick it over. Missed a bit in the pan. And again, cook the other side. I will just keep rotating this potato just like that until it cooks completely through. It doesn't take that long. About 10-15 minutes, I'd say. Just take your time with it. Good non-stick pan is the trick. As my potatoes are just finishing off and just cooking through, I'm now going to start doing my scrambled eggs. And to do those, I'm just going to again pop my pot onto a nice low heat. And then my eggs that I have just added a little bit of olive oil. 2 eggs. I'm just going to pop them in my pot. Now on a very, very low heat, what you do is I'm actually going to use a spatula for this. And I'm just going to keep those eggs, as my potatoes are cooking, just kind of stirred lightly so they don't start to catch on the bottom. I'm just going to do that nice slow little stirring. Just keeping them in motion, just taking your time. Every now and again, if your eggs get a little bit hot, just take them off the heat. All you need to cook eggs is about 70 degrees. So just take your time with this. They'll get there. And then kind of add them on a little bit more heat every now and again. And just continue that process, putting them on and off the heat until they start to coagulate and start forming into your nice scrambled eggs. And again, what you might see is that as your eggs, start to catch on the bottom of the pot, this is where the spatula is great. Just kind of push them away and just keep them nice and rotated. But again, low temperatures, and take your time. Kind of moving any of the kind of cooked parts of eggs more into the center, and then just rotating it around nice and gently. And then just bringing it onto the heat again, nice, and as it needs a touch more heat, put it back on, then take it off. And then after a few minutes of this, you'll start to notice that the eggs start to scramble beautifully. And what's great about this technique is that the eggs won't really stick to your pot, which is one of the horrible things with scrambled eggs when you cook them too fast, is that you spend a couple of minutes cooking your scrambled eggs and you spend half the day then trying to clean them off your pot. So after that nice gentle few minutes, your scrambled eggs will be just nice and perfectly cooked. Creamy, and that is just eggs and a little bit of olive oil. Now normally I could use season it with a little bit of salt and pepper, but as I'm using smoked salmon, I'm going to avoid using that because I don't think it's necessary. But again, this is down to your own preference. And as you can see, it's not stuck there. There's a little bit of residual heat in my pan, so I'm just going to put that aside now and just let the scrambled eggs hold. And just while that's cooking, as you can see, my potato is after cooking, and that's lovely and cooked through now. So what I'm going to do is very simply take a warm plate. I'm just going to put that aside. And I've just placed my potato onto the plate. I have my eggs ready. And then I just wipe down the warm pan that I had cooked my potatoes on. Just wiped off any excess oil and potatoes. I'm just going to pop my spinach in there. Give it a little drizzle of olive oil. I'm just going to pop a lid on that and very quickly wilt down my spinach. And within literally 30 seconds, my spinach is all wilted down. It doesn't need to be cooked much more than that at all. And then it's only a case of serving this dish. So I'm just going to turn off my gas flame there and then serve. And then to serve, what I'm going to do is place my potatoes, as I said, onto a plate. Just going to add my spinach, just flat out in the potatoes. Next up, I'm just going to take my nice scrambled eggs. Just kind of place those in the center. As you can see, they're just beautifully scrambled. And then finally, I've got my little bit of smoked salmon on my scallions. I'm just going to gently just place those slivers on top. I don't want to cook my smoked salmon into this because I want to preserve those omega-3s. Can kind of just fill it up a little bit. And then finally, sprinkling of spring onions if you like. And maybe a pinch of black pepper. And there we go. A lovely little breakfasty brunch Smoked salmon, scrambled eggs on potatoes.